Everybody, I know this isn't Friday, this is Monday, but when something special comes along and it's just so special, we can't wait till Friday. We just cannot wait till Friday. So we're just so excited.
Right.
I'm super excited because I grew up watching. Oh my God, I can't even say it.
You're so excited for this one. I cannot wait.
Oh my God. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Dragon Ball Universe, we have the voice actor who voices Teen Gohan, Kid Gohan. So it's like just right there with that, y'all know what we should expect from our guests. Especially, I just want to know these precious moments. Abby, who do we have on today?
Tonight on the Anime and Chill podcast, because you can anime and chill anytime, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. It's
So
not
excited
just
for
on
that.
Fridays, not just on Fridays.
Tonight on the Anime and Chill podcast, we have none other than Stephanie Nadolny. We're so excited to have her on. So get ready to sit back, relax, and anime and chill with us.
Oh yeah. So let's go. I'm excited because I got a lot of questions and I just want to know the answers because as a kid watching these epic moments, my God, it was just so emotional, so good. So I'm just dying to know what was she experiencing voicing these moments. So let's go.
Let's
And here we go. Let's go.
hello.
My goodness.
Everyone, please give a nice, warm Dragon Ball welcome to Stephanie.
Oh my God.
We are so happy and
Oh
thankful
my
to have you
God.
on. You are just packed full of energy, and I cannot wait to dive into some of these questions with you.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you guys set this up. This is an honor. Thank you for having me.
My God. Oh my God. When I saw that you said yes, I was like, oh my God, Abby, we got her. We got her, Abby.
You got me. Yeah.
So fun. Well, Stephanie, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's do an open introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your career as a voice actor.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
My name is Stephanie Nadolny. I am a singer, voice actor, actress, choreographer, dancer, showbiz extraordinaire is kind of my thing. So anything involving the voice in particular, started, practicing it as long ago as age 3. I was singing to disco music with my dad and always had music in the house. And so I knew at a very young age, I was definitely is my word, definitely going to pursue show business, particularly singing. And the voice acting came into play a little later, but I was already learning how to finagle my voice to make different sounds, to sound like other singers and other characters, as well as coming up with my own, just, for fun. And I live in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. I'm
Let's go Texas.
But I've been in Texas most of my life, well over half of my life. So I'm definitely, happy to be I'm kind of an adopted Texan.
Nice.
Well, Texas is a hot spot for a lot of voice actors because there's the Funimation studio and then there's Sentai Filmworks. So there's a bunch of places here to do a lot of text or voice acting, and not just in Texas. Well, it's a hotbed, really.
Right. And little did we know that Funimation was going to grow and become, now it's with Sony and then Crunchyroll now. So it's back in the day, nobody really ever knew, that it would be such a hub for that. I mean, I'm actually, working on trying to get back into the business through contacts online in LA and New York. And so, I'm just, waiting to bite into another role of some,
right.
I want to be utilized, the pop conventions are great. The comic book shops are great too. I do those on the weekends. I'm ready to rock into a new role of some kind.
So nice. Fun. So I'm curious to know, how did you get started as a voice actor? We've had people say, well, it was just something I stumbled into, but you had known from day one that you were going to be a voice actor. So how did that begin for you? Did you go in a studio? Did you audition? How did that start?
Yeah, it is, and it is different for everybody. And there's no rule book. I know we get a lot of people wanting to get into the voice acting world. It's fiercely competitive, but I'm always very, encouraging to anybody and everybody of any age really to get into it. I mean, fortunately for me, I literally cut my teeth on singing, and as soon as I could audition for really anything involving singing, music, I did it. So I remember my first role was, I think I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and I got a role in a musical at school. And so I was always involved in choir. I took piano lessons from a very young age. I actually played by ear first. We had a piano, which was really glad we have a piano because I'm back in lessons now. But anything music was my thing, and learning how to manipulate my voice. I didn't realize till many years later, when I got into more serious acting, that I had already been, rehearsing for my career as an adult. I had this from the second I had a cassette player recorder. I was literally obsessed with that thing. Like, not only just listening to records, but once I could actually record my voice and I was writing songs and poetry, and I could really just entertain myself with just about anything involving music, and which was really great, because I was like, easy to raise. My mom was like, I could just set you down and you just, read books or write, anything creative. So, I grew up just doing it all the time, and it really helped me out for when the time came to audition for roles. Specifically growing up, it was musicals, show choir, drill team, pom-pom. I was kind of I was moved around a lot. My stepdad was transferred. My parents split when I was 6. And so I was constantly trying to fit in, and I still don't feel like I do, but you know what? Now I'm like a champion for misfits and and anti-bullying and things. So I have a lot of experience.
Love that.
Yeah, and so I realize now more than ever that as an adult, all of those experiences really kind of shape who you are and who you want to be. And but my specific experience was, I joined a show band right out of high school. And I was on the road at age, I joined my local band at 18, and we were just starting to get gigs, like
gigs
bands up until then. And so that was cool. But I landed an audition for a show band, an internationally renowned show band that's actually been around since 1971. And I actually got the job at that audition, and I was touring the world, mostly USA, with a show band called Vince Vance and the Valiants, and we all had V names. I chose violet because purple's my favorite color.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, so I joined that band, and I just learned anything and everything from watching the other, there were 2 other girl singers. There was 3. We had a trio of girl singers. We did costumes. We did 50s to the 90s. So we were mostly like an oldies review. Like, it's kind of like Sha Na Na meets B-52s.
Okay.
Okay.
So this was like, it wasn't just like you're singing in the band. You're singing, you're dancing, you're developing a character. So you're utilizing all of those abilities that I had grown up desperately trying to do as I could. And so that was my big push into show business as a career, as a professional. And as I stayed with that group, I started mentoring young girls. And as one girl would leave or do other things or go get married or go to another band or do other things, I stayed put. And I thought I'd do it for a couple of years and go back to college. And I was just absolutely hooked. I was never gonna stop. So I stayed with the band 20 years. But
wow.
my tenure with this band, Vince Vance, I met a lot of local DFW bands and other show bands, party bands, and was sitting in and subbing with them. And one of the connections I made through that industry was to be a singer at a company called Jemmy Toys. And I was asked to come out and basically just voice anything and everything. The director would just say, okay, now you're a witch and you're 5 years old and you're a witch, or just anything, Easter bunnies. And the cool thing about that job is it was just hit or miss, just whenever they needed. But I would just literally get into the studio and come up with all of the, like a monster, a witch, an Easter bunny, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer singing a Christmas song. I mean, that was my first real job, being a real, like a voice actor. But the cool thing about that one is I was able to sing in those voices, which was even cooler because I don't know, that seems a little bit trickier.
Right.
So I did that in around 96. And then I met 1996 for you youngsters. I also got involved with a band called Brave Combo. They're an internationally known Grammy Award-winning polka band, which is kind of interesting.
Wow. Okay.
So, of course, I'm going to want to bounce around and
polka.
Right.
And so I started working on an original album with their founder in 96 and 97. Through that process, I met the producer director of Dragon Ball Z. Did not know anything about it at the time.
Oh my goodness.
Big music buff. And so he was at that session and he's like, my gosh, that voice, where am I? Like, that voice is very animated. And little did I know that he was searching for a possible venue to record Dragon Ball Z locally in Dallas Fort Worth. So we exchanged information. And I got his card and I thought, this is like, nothing's ever really going to happen, but maybe it will. So, and a lot of times it doesn't. Like this one did. He called me up and said, I'm having auditions. I didn't even know what it was for, but I knew it was for voice acting. And I showed up in between my touring with the show band and auditioned for all the females. And then before I left, it was kind of like, I felt like I was like now American Idol where there's like 3 judges, you're standing in a podium.
Okay.
Put on the spot. But I just dove into it and they asked me, can you do a boy voice, like a little boy? And I'm like, yeah, Step Brothers and Brother, I can do that. So let's try it. And they said, okay, how about a little more raspy to it? I'm like, oh, okay, how about this? And they liked it. And it turns out, I found out much later that the girl that had been voicing Gohan in Canada for the Ocean dub was a singer and about my age, I think.
There we go.
Yeah, and she had that sound, and I didn't know until many years later. Saffron Henderson, hello, if you're watching. Well, I got to meet her at a convention, but so I got cast as the role of Gohan, and I was all excited, and I got the answering machine message back in 1998. Gohan, and it's a big part, and I'm like, wow, who's Gohan? This is great.
Oh my god.
And so I showed up for the session and we fine-tuned the voice and then I didn't really call back very often. Gohan was not a lead role back at that time. It was the Ginyu Saga. And I didn't even know really what anime was. And the first time I kind of realized this was kind of a big deal was when I was asked to be a guest at a convention, the San Diego Comic-Con in 2000.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
didn't even know what Comic-Cons were. This was a long time ago. And so I went with 3 other actors that were lead roles in Dragon Ball Z. And I was the only girl playing a voice. They were all, guys, voicing guys. And I was like the only girl. And so I found myself doing the voice all weekend long because I had to prove that I was the voice. Kids that were watching like, no, you're a girl. No, that Gohan's a boy. How could you possibly? And I'm like, well, I guess I'll have to prove it then, and just do the voice. And I ended up losing my voice. But that's how it started for me. It's a very different story. Some of the other actors, got called back or maybe through their I don't think anybody really got their job through an agent back then. I didn't even have an agent. I didn't have an official agent back then. And to this day, I don't. I just kind of book myself doing just different stuff. But that's how I got into it. And now I'm doing pop culture conventions all the time, mostly weekends, pretty much full time right now. Yeah, if they want me, I go. we make it happen. I love meeting the fans face to face and hearing their stories. And
oh my God,
that is such
amazing.
A fun story.
Yeah, and then I was in and out of touring with a band the whole time. The whole time I was recording for Dragon Ball Z.
Wow.
And I got
That's so. I love that. You know what I love? You always meet people and they're like, I knew from day one I was going to be a performer, but hearing how you quite literally from tiny tot until the woman you are today, you have been a performer, not just doing it. It is in your blood.
It was the second I heard Donna Summer sing on a stereo.
Oh, what? Yes.
I was blown away by her voice. I was captivated. I would mimic her. I would sing every day after school. I would listen to records. I would put concerts on with my friends on the merry-go-round, you guys. And the teachers were like, that girl is, what is up with that girl? Because a lot of kids didn't do that. I was different, But that was my thing, man. My records and
it made you stand out, and look at where it got you.
Look where we at now.
Yeah. So I mean, and I got made fun of for it. It's like I just knew. It's like music is my life. Oh yeah, music's your life. Whatever. Like I really, But I knew. I mean, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And thank God, my ear was able to handle, being on pitch and really being able to manipulate the voice to sound completely different. And that took years of practice. And also theater, very active in theater, musicals, community theater, talent shows, anything. I was there. I was ready to do it. And all my electives in school involved dramatic arts, choir, definitely singing for sure. And so now here I am doing a dream,
It is the dream.
It is a dream, but it's the journey that tells the story behind how you even got to this point. So that is amazing. I told my son this, and by the way, he's on the chat right now. Teen Gohan top 5 Dragon Ball characters. There he is.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
I tell him all the time. I tell him, sometimes you just go for it and the journey takes you many places, but you wind up doing what you love to do all the time. So, big favor, can you tell him that? Because sometimes, they don't listen to the dad or the parent. They won't listen. They will not listen to the parents.
They'll do the opposite.
But if Gohan maybe were to tell him to do his best in life, because he's about to be 18, so he's about to go to the world.
It's almost a real adult. He'll be legal. Yeah. What's his name?
Michael.
You can do this. Yeah. It did. It took a long time.
There you go.
I mean, it's really rare that you see or hear of a story where someone is like, I want to do this and I'm going to go audition, and then they just get the biggest part ever. It's very rare. It's very rare that happens. I'm sure it has happened to some. But for me, it was a long journey of, singing professionally, and dancing, acting, mentoring, making up dances, teaching the other girls the dances, costumes. I started going out and either buying, making, or seeking out costumes from the 50s. We did go-go boots and Supremes, and so I learned like this is showtime, and the etiquette involved behind putting on a show. There's just things you do and you don't do. You don't walk around in your costume in front of the audience. It's all about the magic and coming out and bursting with energy and really embracing a character. And so, just being on stage, I learned how to front a band. I've fronted maybe 6 or 7 different bands. Over the years, once I left being a traveler on the road, I joined a local show band, and then was chosen to be in a casino senior breakfast band called the High Rollers.
That is so fun.
Oh my God, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, because I was already in a band with my bass player, who I've known 20 years. His name is Dan Bradford. He's actually helps me set up my interviews and is very much very much like a business manager, partner, roommate. He plays a lot of roles in my life, and I play a lot of roles in his. And yes, I'm talking about you. He's here.
Hi. Let's give him his flowers. Okay.
I know.
Right? Let's definitely give him his flowers. Let's give him a round of applause for doing it. Yes. There we go.
But the reason I brought him up also is we were in a band together since 2003 called The Project, and he was the bass player. And then when this band, The High Rolls, was put together, he was selected to be the band manager. Like he was the band leader, I guess you should say, the leader of the band. And he and his manager chose each of us intricately for the role they'd be playing in this 6-piece band. And so what was funny about it was during the week, first thing in the morning, because we're used to playing clubs and weddings and parties, and how are we going to do this, right? So we all conglomerated and put together our first set list like 2 nights before we were supposed to perform. And thankfully, everyone there was consummate professional. We had the best of the best at whatever they did. And I had learned so much about fronting a band and being a front entertainer through Vince Vance and the Valiants, who was just on the spot characters and telling jokes and putting wireless microphones in people's faces and changing lyrics to songs, which was another thing I did for fun, was writing comedic jingles and parodies for morning show radio. So all of this experience and all of these voices and all of these characters and costuming all came together, and I was selected to be the female lead singer. And then we had 3 other male singers who also played instruments. So this was just like the best of all my world. Lighting and in the morning. So it's like, get up early, see the sunrise, have your coffee, drive for about an hour, get there. Everyone's ready to line dance. Everybody there was over 50. I'd had a slew of experience singing oldies, Motown, R&B, whatever it is. A lot of country music too, because this was just over the border of Texas, which it's Thackerville, Oklahoma was actually. I don't know if anybody's heard of WinStar World Casino, but it's like, I think it's one of the biggest in the world.
Yes.
It's too long ago. And so that was a 4-year run. So we got to know these seniors very well. We'd have breakfast with them every week, and we got to know them all by name, all of our, our senior fans. And
right.
Every week. So I mean, I really was just able to do anything and everything involving the voice. Because you can't be everywhere working every day necessarily with voices unless you're just a lead role in or you're doing it at multiple companies. And so now I just, I'm doing everything. I mean, I might book a workshop or maybe a coaching session. For a time during the pandemic, I was teaching voice and beginner piano to children, which is huge for me because I love kids so much. So that's kind of how things kind of fell into place for me, but it took a lot of work. It took hitting the pavement, and just because you're super talented, something doesn't mean you're going to be cast in anything either. It's you just have to get out there and get the exposure. And, even I know building my career, I took a lot of jobs that weren't my favorite, but I did whatever I had to do to pay the bills. And, I bought a house right after I got cast as Gohan. I bought my first house. My mom had just passed away, unfortunately, of cancer, very sudden. And I was able to channel a lot of that angst and pain and suffering through my personal experiences when I was voicing, particularly Gohan in the Cell Saga. So I don't
wow.
That was huge for me because a lot of people ask me, how did you channel that pain and suffering and screaming? And I'm like, I was living.
She said Cell Saga. Oh my goodness. Oh, Abby.
To draw
Abby, you
I need to catch up. So I will have left a lot of my Dragon Ball knowledge to DJ. I have very clear memories of watching Dragon Ball when I would get home from school and I would babysit a kid, and it would be so much fun. And I always tell this story, and I'd love to share it with you because I'm sure that you'll be able to have the same moment. So I remember watching Dragon Ball for one of the first times, and it was one of my first experiences with anime. And it was, they used to communicate on those phones, and it was this green box, and it would have their picture on it. And I remember, like, as a child saying, there is no way we will ever be able to see somebody on the screen and talk to them at the same time. That technology is just not going to exist. And here we are today.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Long before the time, they were coming up with these things that were destined to happen in the future, technology and computers and, it's amazing. That's why I think it's so funny when we talk about when I was cast originally, it was an answering machine. Like we didn't have cell phones and cell phones were around, but I remember I didn't get one until
right. They were like this big.
Oh yeah.
They were ginormous. And then, it was
big phone.
They were very, very expensive for the time. And I was traveling, so there was a lot of roaming. And so, I think it's great that this is going on right now. I know a lot of the younger kids that are, growing up now are going to be seeing some amazing things when they get.
Definitely. They do not know the struggle of anytime minutes. I got rollover minutes.
Oh gosh.
The rotary dial, the big fat telephone books to look at.
Oh my God.
No, there was none of that.
None of that.
Right. So yeah, hey, that's great though, because there's more opportunities for people who want to go into, show business or whatever it is they want to do. They have so much more access, and you can just jump online and do a search or go take a workshop or look at YouTube and learn how to change your tire or whatever it is you're
right. Yeah.
It's really, it's right there for you. And I mean, at the touch of a button on your phone, it's like, wow.
Quick, so convenient on certain things. Cause otherwise sometimes what's the first thing? Oh, let me either Google it or let me go to YouTube and look for this.
Right. We had encyclopedias.
Right? Call somebody. How do you do this? Like that's the way it was.
Right.
Yeah. That's why when I tell you seriously, like the cassette player, then they had the double cassette players and recording off the radio and like that. I used a lot in my free time to come up with my own unique voices. But it wasn't that I knew as a child I'm going to be a voice actor. I didn't even really think about it that way because I knew I wanted to use my voice and I knew I wanted to be a singer. So it all came together by really being out there and performing and utilizing my voice with these characters on stage and on my cassette players. I would write, when people would write letters, we'd have pen pals. We would record our letters on cassette. When I moved away and I would keep my friends on cassette tape.
Just send them a cassette there. Wow. Oh my God. Nice.
We'd make up our own little shows. Like we'd do like our own news programs and then we'd come up with the characters and we would also interview each other. It was fun. The girlfriends that did that with me, that, I learned a lot from them as well, because it was a very creative thing to come up with a theme song and sing it and produce
Sure,
it.
yeah.
It's like, I hear them now. I mean, I'd have to go and put them onto the computer and find them and everything. I mean, that was voice acting. That was cutting your teeth on voice acting and recording and mimicking back what you hear, which is another thing, is I'm kind of a mimic as well. So I mimic some of the characters, Bobby on King of the Hill. And
oh my God dang it, Bobby.
Just I don't know. I just learned how to do that. And I'd mimic my babysitters. I wouldn't be making fun of them. They might have thought that I was, but I was trying to mimic them. I found it to be a challenge. And to this day, I do that all the time. They're walking around
oh my goodness,
talking to my dog or my cats or whatever, different kinds of voices and stuff like that. So
that's so okay. So I have a totally silly question to go right off of that. Have you ever called somebody mimicking someone else's voice? Well, I'm sure now it's probably more difficult because of caller ID, but growing up, did you ever have the opportunity to call somebody as your babysitter and maybe order a pizza or two?
Right. Well, I am getting lots of trouble for that. But yes, I mean, I was all about the prank calls. I mean, to me, that was super fun. I mean, acting like you're somebody else and nobody knows.
Right.
And hanging up and laughing and running. Running.
It is a shame that the new generation cannot experience that.
No,
right.
No, prank calling and then hanging up, laughing. Oh,
yes, and to really fool someone and to pull one over on somebody was also fun, because it's like, I must have done a good job of that voice.
Yeah.
And I would call friends of mine as I got older, even, and when I was in college, I would always have a funny answer machine message. So
my God, your voicemail answering machine.
Yes, I would bring out my keyboard and get like a nice background music thing going and play a little bit, and then get into a character and record, something, tropical. Oh, I'm not here. I'm on vacation on the banks of Cancun, Bahamas. I would make up these funny stuff, and people would laugh and think it's hilarious. But again, I was practicing for my future career, doing parodies and jingles and doing the Weird Al Yankovic change the lyrics. I did one for Broccoli Spears, and it was, eat your veggies when you dine instead of hit me baby one more time. So I had a lot of fun doing. Yeah. So that was something I did for fun, and then eventually led to writing and recording a Halloween song, a Christmas song. They're on YouTube, but there's a Halloween Rocks and Kids Christmas. And then also through Funimation at the time, I recorded some animation themes. And all of this is on my website, which we can talk about. My name's stephanienadolny.com, and they're all loaded up there if you want to hear some music. And I want to get my original album from 96 and 97 up on something, because it kind of got shelved, and things just kind of changed. Time just kind of went on, but it's still there, and I have access to it, so I'd like to get it out there. The fans are like, well, I want to hear it, because a lot of them don't realize I'm a singer. I'm like, I'm not singing. What?
Yeah, we will definitely include that and share that.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so
good.
just talking about iconic roles like a Gohan per se, what steps do you take to get in that role? Like, where's your mind? How do you just check in? Okay, today I'm playing Gohan. How do you check in mentally and everything with that?
Well, like I said, the first few sessions were the most difficult, because it was like, okay, what do these people want? Like the director per se, like what exactly, so basically it started with me showing up and listening to the director, whoever that might be, for that show, for that day, for that episode. And once, because like I said, Gohan in the beginning for me, where we started, wasn't a prominent character. He was kind of in the background. So we could get through several episodes in one session of like maybe a couple of hours. So for me, once I came back, the second and third time, I would just have them play what I had done, my pre-roll from the episode before, or the session before, and I would literally mimic myself. And that's, once we did that a few times, I had the voice. I knew exactly where to go in my throat to achieve it. It was just a matter of, getting into character and listening to what's going on in the scene. And then we would just jump right into it. For efficiency's sake, we would just like, I would just, watch the screen, which at the time was on a, the old style television with the boob tube, that was looking at the screen and watching what's going on. And there'd be three beeps, and then the imaginary fourth beep is where you would start, making a noise or whatever it is, a reaction or a line. And then we would try it. If we got it, we'd move on. If not, we'd do it again. And then for me, I just got so used to doing the voice and getting right into character quickly that if I didn't get it the first time, a lot of times they would let the recording continue, and I would get it the second time, and then they would slide it over. Because right after you see it, you can almost like instantly know what you need to do that would make it better.
Got it.
Time it, like then another thing, rhythmic timing as a singer, as a musician, it helped me with my dubbing, dubbing from Japanese original.
With the clicker, a lot of people who don't know about recording sessions, that clicker, get it on point. Some can get it, some can't. It takes time, but it definitely takes time to get the rhythm, the tone, the beat, everything.
And you're in a booth, so like you would kind of shut the door. You go into a room where they would be recording, and this was rewinding, fast forwarding. It was not computers yet. I mean, we had the paper script, and you're trying not to like move around too much. You get like the booth noise or smack yourself on the mic. It's like we had to like learn the discipline involved in being in a booth, and try not to do anything to make it a challenge in post production, where there might be some noises in the background that they can't, or if you make a mouth noise or you snort, or seriously, like, and you have to put aside. That was hard for me initially too. It's like, you got to put aside what you look like, or if you're making these weird noises, you look like, you're on the toilet or whatever, that create that sound, and to really good, I had to put all that aside, being silly, making silly faces, just didn't matter. And there's some people that can't do that. They're like, oh my gosh, I look so stupid or whatever. It's you got to put all that aside.
Right. You got to get the sound, whatever you got to do to get that sound.
Right. And I know for some people too, it's hard to scream and yell and fight and do these exertions without moving around too. So I found myself, learning where I can move that won't cause a sound that's going to
okay
up the take. But just standing still wasn't going to work either. And if there's going to be some powerful scene, I can't stand still. Same with singing and performing and hitting high notes. I mean, I can't just stand there with a microphone in my hand. It's got to be
right. You want to get in that pose. If you're doing something to prepare for like a big fight, you almost naturally want to expand yourself and stand there and flex.
I remember doing a lot of that, and thankfully I was able to do that. The booth was large enough to accommodate that kind of motion. The only time it was a little more challenging is if we did a Walla session, and what Walla is background voices, whether it be in a village or anything going on around, anything audio had to be recorded. So we would get into the booth at the end of our session if we ended early or the next person arrived early. We would all get in there in the booth together, which I think the most I've been into a booth with was probably about 4 other people. So that's 5 of us, pretty crammed, but we made it fun. And we would just say random things and then they would do the cut over and over, and they would just layer it. So it sounded like we were just an entire village or an
entire village.
I never even thought about that. Like you've heard that sound before. I know exactly what you were talking about. I never thought how to create that. That's so fun.
Yeah. And so that's what I do too now, even when I work with Dan at the, if he needs a radio spot read, or he needs children in the background, or he needs a wife talking to a husband or whatever it is. That's another way for me to practice new voices or voices that maybe aren't so over the top, cartoony or character type voices. So I've been learning a lot about over the past, especially during the pandemic. I had to find a way to work, and I started learning how to read long scripts and narrations, and a lot of them were like children's stories and stuff, which I found to be very, very, very fulfilling. And because we couldn't perform, our band had to shut down and everybody went on hiatus and stuff until we could figure out how to record from home and things like that, which, now we can. And so, I mean, my work ethic's always been there. It's just hit or miss on casting. It's just a matter of, who wants to work with you. Like, I think randomly about a year ago, somebody contacted me about an audition for a video game in Croatia. And
wow.
Yeah. And so I auditioned for that and did 3 voices, but knocked it all out, all the lines out in like maybe an hour. So, it's truly 100% self-employed independent contractor. That's what I do now. And
it's working out. You're doing
It's working
great.
out.
Thank you. Yeah. And then these interviews are super fun, and I have flexibility to do that. So.
Awesome. Okay, so I've got another quick question for you. Of all the characters that you've voiced, and you've got a fantastic career, what would you say is the most challenging and why?
Okay. That's pretty easy. The Cell Saga Gohan was very, very challenging. Thankfully was able to pull that off. I remember just showing up for work, just showing up for session, and I never knew what we were going to work on exactly. But all of a sudden, Gohan's getting older. He's been in the hyperbolic chamber, the time chamber. He's been training with Goku, and it's time for him to really, really shine, and really all of that angst and all of that pent up energy from watching his friends and his loved ones get conquered, bullied, destroyed, whatever. I had to come up with the lowest, gruffest, graveliest. I don't even think that's a word.
Oh my goodness.
Just like a monster voice. And I would just channel like a badass, like, sorry to say ass, but like
go for it. Go for it.
It's not as big a deal. But like, whether it's Chuck Norris or Clint Eastwood or whatever it is, like, and I'd had brothers, like I said, stepbrothers and a brother, and I knew how to act tough because of them and being pushed around, being the only girl too. So I had to figure it out, duke them out for stuff. But I just channeled that. And then, just all the pain and suffering I'd been through with the bullies in my own life. My God, I had some bullies. I never thought I'd be thankful for that, but I think I'm a little thankful because it really shapes who you are, and it's gotten me ready for adult bullies, and they're lurking everywhere.
Yes.
Y'all, what is up with all the hate?
Oh, yes, exactly.
So, I mean, grateful I didn't get bitter about it. I mean, it was painful, but I channeled all of that. I utilized my life experiences and my training with drama, because I majored in drama in college. And I channeled all of that in my characters and dove into it that way, If it was something I hadn't been through, well, I probably know somebody who's been through something similar,
Similar.
Right.
Maybe not a cell saga, but or a cell or a villain. But I mean, in my life, we've all had villains. We have people lurking that want us to, suffer, or competition, and people that, want you out of the game pool so they can audition. I mean, it's a real thing, and it's unfortunate, but you have to just grab those experiences and don't let them make it bitter, and wish everybody well. I mean, if they whether they like you or not, it doesn't really matter, and you just have to just blow that stuff off. So I just channeled a lot of life experience. The loss of my mother, that was horrible. She was my everything, and and life experiences of there's we all go through something. And we all have something that we do that's not healthy. And if we do it in excess, it can be our demise. And so it's like, really identifying what it is that you do that in your human suit that takes you away from your spiritual side or your soul or whatever it is that you believe. And so, through this experience of being Gohan, and he's really been a journey, a real spiritual, emotional, mental journey for me personally.
Wow. A lot of heart in your character. I love that.
Yes, definitely love that. And let me just say to your moms, she gave birth to someone really special, honestly, because it's like, like you would not here without your mom. So it's just like major impactful. Just you put all those energies together, the bullies, your mom, everything.
Her spirit was just beautiful.
Like, I can give you chills right now talking about the Cell Saga, because knowing what I know now, where the way you're explaining it, oh my God, it just took me somewhere else where it's like, yeah, you could hear it, Abby. You gotta watch this fight.
I do.
Hear Gohan. Like, I'm trying to tell you, when she said, "Oh, I needed to get this anger out," and you hear it. Oh my God.
I mean, pain. There was pain involved.
Yes.
Anyway, I mean, it was part of the role, and really channeling that, but physically, I mean, I remember reading during the Cell Saga. That's when I was, the most trying and the most difficult voice as well. So I remember leaving the session, and like when my head would be pounding, but it was all part of, the side effects of really, really just getting into the character and blasting off those screams and yells and Kamea waves and whatever it was. And there were times when I would just have to just get in my car and shut the door, because I had like an hour drive to the sessions, and so I had time to either get into character or go through my, my warm-ups to get ready, or I would just be like, I gotta be quiet, like, for the rest of the night. I'm not taking calls. I mean, like, I gotta, press from there, drink a lot of water and just be quiet.
I believe that. Yeah.
Session during the day and have a gig that night, but I would just, it's happened. So I would just utilize that gruff rasp and just be more soulful, and sing, what you want, baby, I got it.
Wow, you could nail it that night, right?
I just learned how to just, just almost go on. I mean, I learned that from a young age. You got to just get out there. I remember one play I was in college. I went running through the door at intermission, and they had it blocked off, but it was like this really sharp edged deal, and I was running through and ripped my leg open, and blood was everywhere, but the show had to go on, and so I finished the show. It was Bye Bye Birdie, and I was like one of the lead characters, so I had to finish, and then I went to the emergency room and got 47 stitches. Like, I'd already lived that.
Oh my God, look at that.
You just show up, make it happen, and then you got to go to hospital. Well, then you go later, but the show's got to go on.
I will tell you, theater people are dedicated. There is no way you can get them off the stage. Literally. I love that. I used to do theater when I was in high school, and that was always some of the most hectic times,
Right.
but it's an endorphin rush whenever
really
it's all
is.
over. Oh, it's so
And
much
the timing and being ready and the costume changes, you line it up and you got to do it oh so quickly, and it's got to be you got to be in character. You can't bring your personal business into the show. You can't. So I learned from a young age to do that, especially being a new girl all the time. I was like different surroundings all the time, and I had to just almost be a chameleon just to kind of morph my way into whatever's going on around me so that I don't, crumble. And so I think there's a lot of resilience there that I was taught at a young age with with the family, with all the brokenness and moving around, and dad and mom were in different states the rest of my life, so.
Right. I was going to say there's almost a consistency to the inconsistency. There's something that you can count on the rehearsal, on the practice, on all of those things. You knew this person was going to hit their mark at this time. So there's something to it that's comforting. In the chaos.
It's the chaos. It's the idea.
Yes.
And sometimes I find myself doing better and having a drive to do better when there's a lot going on. And that's a comfort zone for me. For some, it would make them crazy. It's like, I can't do that. I got to be at home. I'm a hermit. I want to be behind the computer. The pandemic was a saving grace for a lot of people. For people like me who are very extroverted and really take in the energy. I'm an empath, so I take the energy of the people around me and I thrive on it. And so getting back out in front of the people at these conventions and actually having a call, the fact that the character, the show, the franchise, whatever, has just been so popular has been great, and I'm so grateful for that, because it's a franchise that I call it the gateway anime. There were several of them, but
yes,
kind of brought. It was kind of like the one that a lot of people grew up with, and whether they liked it or not, their brother was watching it and they had to watch it, or some of them were into it in the beginning. Some of them were watching it with their kids now. They're in their 30s and 40s, so it's been like the gift that keeps on giving, and it's just really great. And because I know there's Digimon, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. There's several others that were a big deal around the same time as well. And I'm meeting some of those actors at some of these conventions. It's been really interesting to hear their point of view of how they were cast and how they're, some of these shows are still going on. I mean, Dragon Ball Z Super, I think, is still going on now.
Yes, Super is still going on.
Yeah. So, hey, that's great. And it's fun to see where everybody's going, because I knew a lot of the cast initially, and a lot of us played a lot of different roles because our talent pool was smaller. But the cool thing is I got to exercise those crazy voices, like the crazy voices in my head come to life. And the baby voice, I did Baby Trunks. I did several.
Oh my god, Baby Trunks.
Baby Trunks. Just a lot of crying and laughing.
Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah, that's all it was.
Giggling, laughing. Yep.
Speaking on the Cell Saga, because anybody who's watched Dragon Ball Z, that's an epic moment in Dragon Ball Z. The Cell games. If anybody knows, Cell comes into the news, announces this. Hey, it's going to go down. It's the Cell games. Now, when you were voicing Gohan with all did you have any idea that this would be as big as it is? That moment, Gohan against Cell. Did you have any idea voicing this, saying, yeah, this is going to be big impact on anime, or just what was going through that?
I don't even remember the directors hinting at that. I mean, because it hadn't been dubbed yet with us. So it was just coming to work, showing up. Okay, where are we? What are we doing? And then all of a sudden he's this freaking insane 11-year-old man to me. I mean, and I'm just really glad that I was able to do it and come up with that voice, and for that to be like, director liked it, because who knows when the decision would be made that Gohan's no longer a child, or that I'm no longer the voice, and then they gave the voice to the adult, which is Kyle Abear, and love him, by the way. He's a great guy. But it's like, I don't know. It was just I was in the zone. I was working all the time. I was traveling anywhere and all over the place. I was, dealing with what I had been dealing with, my mom's death. Still to this day, that never goes away. But I was coming out of all of that and starting a new life. And, I don't know. It's just, you'd show up to work and you just give it your all. And, but no, I had no idea, even to this day. I mean, I just always assumed, Gohan was kind of a side character or a background character. I know he's not really a background character per se, but like, I just assumed oh well, this is the role, this is awesome and everything, but like Goku and Piccolo and Vegeta and all these other characters, they're the big stars of the show. So this is just my session. This is my episodes that I'm working on, and then it's just moving on. But now I realize now that these scenes really contributed to a lot of people going through a lot of their own in their own lives, and that this thankfully was a positive impact on kids of whatever ages that were. I mean, I hear stories face to face that would put me in tears. I mean, hey, thank you. They'll come up and thank me, years later, 20 something years later, and they're like, I was suffering. I was getting bullied at school, or I was, suicidal, or, I was mentally not in a good place. And I would come home and my escape was Dragon Ball Z, and Cell Saga was a big part of that. And so that's another reason, because I had to come out of my own, my own darkness. And that's brought me out of a lot of my own darkness, not being able to be a mother, I wanted to be a mom so bad. And, a lot of these things didn't happen the way I'd hoped for my own life. And so I've just had to really dig deep and find some strength in myself. And I'd always kind of like try to get my strength from other people, but really it really comes down to getting in contact and having conversations with yourself and learning to love yourself and to quit, being your own bully. Cause I really was for a long time. I was like,
yes,
being yourself up.
When you're made fun of that your whole life, and including in the house, my stepdad was not kind, and he ran the house like a military. And so when you're taught that and you're told that over and over, you have to find a way to either seek help, get help, whatever, and bring yourself out of your own pain. And so I don't know how we got on the subject. Sorry.
No,
okay.
go.
A lot of people resonate with it.
Resonate with this. Yes, they need to hear this.
Theme. It's a universal theme. There's the devil, the dark side, whatever you want to call it. We've all got it. We're all gonna suffer. We all have hunger. We have searching and yearning for peace, and being comfortable in your own skin. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's the truth. And so
it really truly is.
So that's Cell was my devil, alcohol, addiction, whatever it is, we all find things to do to escape reality, because there's things that aren't comfortable. You don't want to face it. Like, I'm going to go shopping, or I'm going to go distract myself with something, but it can always backfire. So.
And I will say that there are a lot of people who will often turn to the comfort of an anime, of a show, that they can sit down and they can count on these characters, that there's a character that they particularly resonate with. And that is just their comfort or their escape. And that's something that here on the Anime&Chill podcast, we always say our slogan is, and we'll chat more about this towards the end. We always say peace, love, and anime. And that this is a community. This is a community where all are welcome. You don't have to be an expert in anime to enjoy it. You just kind of, the casual fan can still be comforting and find joy and peace in it. So it's something that we'd like to spread here.
It's a huge community, and it's one where I have found myself feel a part of by being with people who feel or have felt growing up watching anime as misfits. And so I can bond with these kids of all ages, parents now, and handing me their babies and whatever it is. I have a big heart for that. And that's where I can channel being the closest that I can be to a mother who is extremely nurturing and has that drive to nurture. And so I'm nurturing my anime babies.
Yes, you are. Yes, you. I was about to say something like that. I was saying, you are a mom. What do you mean? Yes, you are. My goodness. Yes, you are.
There's something I don't know. No, so it is. It's very much that's been very fulfilling for me. It's kind of come full circle,
Yeah.
So like you said, and it keeps these kids of all ages off the street. It keeps them in
so much so
inside their house, where they can be safe, where they can channel some of this angst and kind of work through whatever it is they're facing, challenges, mentally or, physically, or kind of trying to figure out who they are. I mean, gosh, none of us really know who we really are when we're kids or teens.
Right.
We really just don't. So I think that that's great if they can focus on something that whether it's video games or, like I said, anime or cartoons or music. I mean, I just dove into that music when I needed an escape. And so once I came out of my darkness, I jumped right back into what my original escape was. And that was music and voices and kids and whatever I relished. So
it all connects. Like my son, I remember this time when he was going through a low time in his life, and look, exactly, watching Dragon Ball in a low part of my life, I would feel helpless at times, but seeing Gohan beat Cell when all hope was lost and made me so much for hope and power. So he just wants to say thank you. He just wants to say thank you. See,
it's like a miracle. Like know it's there. Because I know for a long time I kind of limited myself growing up, and I was kind of told this is your world. This is kind of your world. And then when I got to be an adult and was traveling the world, I'm like, that's not my world. My world is limitless. And so I learned how to not limit myself and to be kinder to myself. And it's just, and through this experience of right now, living in the moment and cherishing the good things and staying positive. So
yes.
Oh my gosh, my heart is so full right now.
Me too. It's coming out. I am not gonna lie.
It might be in your eye there, buddy.
Look, it is coming out because it is just a full circle moment, because I remember watching this, not knowing that I will ever talk to the person who voices this moment. So it's like, and it's just the way it impacted me. My son is just like a big appreciation, like for reals. Like you have no idea. Thank you.
Wow, I don't. Until I see it or hear it, I really don't. And for years, I didn't realize, I wasn't even doing Comic-Cons or anything. I mean, unless somebody called me and said, "Hey, we want you to come." And I'm like, "Well, I did that years ago. Are you sure that they're going to want me there? Is it going to be a success?" And then, when I come up, the people. You build it, they'll come, just like the movies say,
Yeah, true.
Those Funko Pops, man, they're hot right now, guys. They want those signed. They gotta be in the collectibles. They
collectibles. Yes.
Yeah, prints, posters. You got it. We've got it all. So I work with a lot of different artists and give them lots of accolades for coming up with these really cool, unique posters and prints with my characters interacting or, multiple characters. It's really been fun. So I love it. I'm very, very, very grateful. So I hope it continues to do nothing but positive things and resonate with kids and people of all ages.
Yes.
You can stream it, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to wait. You don't have to watch the commercial if you don't want to watch commercial, Yeah. It's available to anybody anytime.
Yes. Now they get to skip through the commercials and just watch all the good stuff.
When they want, they can watch it after school at their own pace. Watch it on the weekends,
Yes.
That's great.
Oh my goodness.
So hopefully there'll be another big giant role to sink my teeth into. I've always wanted to voice a Disney type character that sings and does the voice, kind of like Little Mermaid. If there's something like that out there for me at some point, if it's meant to be, that would be a dream role for me, singing and doing the voice both.
Awesome.
Yes, that would be amazing right there. Yeah, knock it out the park for sure. This is okay. Yeah. So just recording then till now, like what changes have taken place then?
There's been a lot of changes because we're talking over 2 decades ago when we started. And when we were recording these episodes years ago, 99, 2000, 2001, around that time, we would be given the VHS tapes of our shows. So there were VHS tapes that was rewinding, fast forwarding, Since then, especially since around, 08, 09, we were doing some video games involving where there was computer screens with the scripts on the computer screen, so you wouldn't have to worry about paper, which is great for saving the planet and the trees. It's like, don't need to print anything out. And so it kind of evolved slowly, but that was the last time I did like a video game or anything for Dragon Ball Z. It was on a computer screen. But it was a similar thing where you're in a padded booth. You feel like, I work in a padded booth. I'm crazy. But now it's I've done some work from home, and it's pretty neat the way some of the software has really come a long way. Like you can attach like the microphone to say this. If you have two screens, you get one screen here and one screen has the script, and you may have headphones and the director talks to you in your your headphones. So it's definitely come a long way. So that's what's mainly changed, is that there's lots more software, there's lots more interfaces, there's a lot more technology that I'm still desperate to learn about. I don't know anywhere near enough of it right at this moment, but I'm learning as I go, and when you can capture me and sit me down, I will learn it.
So, if there's a will, there's a way, right?
There's a will, there's a way. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I was looking over your IMDb credits, and I noticed that you had a few video game, and you just mentioned it, a game from Croatia. How is recording for a video game different than recording for an anime?
It's similar if the dialogue is, spoken dialogue. If there's exertions or fighting noises, I know that when I was doing video games for Dragon Ball Z, it was a lot of rapid fire, and it would also, like, they would take one line and then say Kamehameha, and I would do it like 7 different ways. I would do it slow, I would do it fast, I would do it rapid fire. So that there were options that then later in post-production get dropped where they need to be, so that when someone's actually physically playing that game, once it'll react accordingly based on how they're actually
right.
So, and then video games, I think, pay better. You're working a little bit harder, because there's really nothing you can respond to, as opposed to like when you're dubbing a show that's already been done in Japan. Because I know when I did the video games, they hadn't been made yet, so we had to voice them first, or they were made in Japan, and it was just a different process. You weren't really dubbing in the same way, but recording still in a booth, headphones, script, similar. 3 beeps, speak or make your sound at the 4th imaginary beep, and so that part of it was similar. When I did my Croatia video game, it was done completely different. Whereas they were directing me on their time, so we had to come up with a time that made sense for Central Time in the USA.
Wow.
With Croatia. And then that's where I get my guy, my right-hand man, Dan Bradford. He helps me set all of that up with the computer and the technology. He works at a radio station where he's behind a computer all day long during the week. So I get a lot of help from him to help me coordinate that, and whether it's microphone or computer, and then he makes sure that we troubleshoot and we get it ready and we prepare. It's a big part of what you do in this line of work. You got to be prepared. Log in early, do it
right.
It was live. It's like, hey, like, here it is. So it's just different. I don't know. And I think, like I said, there's just a resilience that I have, because I've just been doing so many different things in the show business. So I'm armed and prepared for just about anything.
I believe it. A woman of many hats.
Many hats. Many hats.
I was gonna wear a hat.
Were you? Look how fun.
There we go.
It was cute when I was wearing it earlier, but
it's very cute.
Let me tell you.
So speaking of women of many hats, is there a voice, like a character that you haven't voiced that you would like to?
Female. Imagine that. No. I've voiced quite a bit of male characters, and that's fine. It's great. It's fun. I love it. I'm not complaining at all. And then I did play the voice of a mother in Jeb the Mom. It's actually The Adventures of Ryan DeFreitas. It was a kind of a short-lived thing, but it was kind of cool because I got to kind of like utilize my own voice.
Ooh.
But really obviously keep the direction in mind and act appropriately through
right.
It wasn't me, it was a character. So that was actually
that sounded a lot like you.
Yeah, it sounded like me, but she was a 40-year-old mother, and so I had to channel that but use my voice. And then of course through the narration and the radio spots that I do on the regular, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with just my regular voice, but letting that enthusiasm shine through, because a lot of these things I do are for radio. So you put a smile on it. If you actually physically smile, you can actually hear that smile in the read. It's like, try this, call now at da 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 da, and I'm really smiling, and you can hear it in my voice. It's like, yeah. But honestly, that's been something that I'm doing more now, but I've always still felt like I'm better at the cartoon, over the top, crazy, kooky voices. The character voices I think I'm just naturally better at that because I started doing it as a kid.
Right. You're a natural performer, so it only makes sense for you to want to perform as these characters.
Bigger than life, and the crazier, the better. Anything from, oh my, woo! It's like, it's just silly and fun. And then, of course, the mimicking is, the Beavis and Butthead or whatever. Mars Simpson, I kind of listen to that, right?
I love it.
Utilize that vocal fry, learned how to use vocal fry. It's like vocal fry. Oh, that's vocal fry, because sometimes you'll get an audition and it'll say, here's a reference, and make sure you really rock that vocal fry. And so you learn new terms for different types of things that I'd already been doing with my voice, but I didn't know exactly what it was. So it's like learning.
Oh, that's what that's called.
Right. And then of course, when they give me a reference, I get online and watch that reference. And then, of course, I'm instantly already trying to channel that sound that they're going for as a director. So,
wow. All right. So,
but if I don't try out and I don't show them some range, I don't have a shot at it. So,
makes sense.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
So you love all of these characters. You are a performer. You've become them. I want to know, of the characters that you voiced, who would you like to spend the day with and why?
Oh, wow. In person?
Of course. Yeah.
I think, as much as I'd love to ride around on a scooter with these guys, oh my, probably Goku and Dragon Ball, because he's just so innocent and cute and funny, and he says things that you don't say, but he doesn't know that they can be misinterpreted.
Why do women have butts on their chest? I don't know. I was just checking to see if
kid Goku. Oh, Abby.
He's just so lovable and cute and funny, and drops his pants and pees in the river, and it's a big deal. Raised in the woods, stronger than he realizes, and he's just. I say he doesn't have fear. Of course, he has fear, but he doesn't have a whole lot of fear because he's in imminent danger, and he's like, "Ha! Can't catch me!" And he's like out the door. It's like
out the door.
Yeah, he's like he's out of there. But it's like even with some of his tournaments, he's like fighting, the strongest fighters of all, and he's just like,
let's go. I get to fight. Yeah.
I get to fight. He's like just casually just goes for it. He's just like, okay, let's go.
He wants to eat. He wants to sleep. Just really pretty simple kid, right? But he says the cutest things that are just really doesn't know the difference between a attractive girl and a unattractive girl, or even what a girl is versus what a boy is. I mean,
oh my god,
that's so cute.
So I'd like to spend the day with Goku, eating, sleeping, and fighting.
I love that. Good one.
A day
nice.
with Goku.
Right? Oh my goodness. Chaos, comedy, and just like a bunch of random stuff. It just all rolled into one.
Playful, laughing all the time. Jumping up and down and grabbing that fish and slinging it over my shoulder.
Oh my god, the fish.
I mean, that's cool. It's just fun.
Oh my god. So you talk about all the cons you attend and all that, meeting the fans. Is there one of those memories that kind of sticks out when you encounter a fan that's just like top of your head, top three, something like that?
For me, I will tell you, I can tell you right now. So I was doing a comic book shop outside of Waco, and there was a child. I say child, for me, he's a child. He's probably about 12, maybe, kind of that tricky age where you're like going through a lot.
Right.
Trying to figure out who you are, puberty, whatever. And I just could tell that he was really, really like into anime and really into Dragon Ball Z and really, really excited to be there. And his father was just not nice. And he was either in a bad mood that day. I don't know. But it reminded me of my stepdad. And it was like the poor kid. I mean, I just wanted to hug him. Right. So, and his, stepdad was like, or dad or whatever was like, why do you spend your money on this stupid.
Oh yeah.
Heartbreaking, right? So I I signed something and handed it over and was like, I got to give this guy something. And his dad was not going to pay for it. And I was like, I just felt like I had to do something and give him something special and a memory, And so, yeah, it's really just not about the money. It's about really making memories with these fans. And like, they're coming to see us and want us to sign stuff, and it's like, wow, they want me to sign my name. It's like really embracing that has been hard. It's like, because I've always been taught to be humble and stay humble, and always, no matter what, no matter how big you get in whatever industry, you want to be a good person. And my mom always taught me that, and I knew that I would never get that big head or that big ego. It's just quite the opposite, actually. I have to work myself up to realize, hey, you're good. You're all right. You're enough, Stephanie. You're enough.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That moment really broke my heart. Really broke my heart. Because I don't know what home life that boy had, but I could just tell he was scared to death of his father. And it really hurt to see.
But you know what? You have that memory now of being able to bond with that child. I mean, 12 years old is a child.
Yeah.
And they now have that almost a welcoming feeling, like, well, just because this person doesn't get it, this person who does get it completely understands it.
Right. And I just know that that's where he was, and that's what was going on at the time. And I hope that when he grows up, that he can face whatever those challenges were, because I know I was going through a similar thing with my stepdad, and I just was always kind of living in fear. And I really could tell that was something was going on there at home. And there's nothing we can really do. And you hope and pray there's no abuse. But it's going on. There's emotional abuse, there's mental abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. It's going on all the time. And it's just a matter of if it's, revealed or discovered in a way that can save these kids or whoever's being abused. It doesn't have to be kids. I mean, there's domestic violence. There's, but my heart's big for that stuff because I've been through it myself. And
it's hard.
It's
hard.
Yeah.
But you did the right thing, and you were able to give this child a moment where it was something that meant a lot to them, and you were able to do that. And that is always so, it's special. And you have memories when you were growing up, and there's something that made your day, where you just knew this thing was going to stick with you forever, and you were able to give that.
And I try to think about it that way. Like, who's my idol? Well, besides my mom, Donna Summer. If I was standing in front of Donna Summer and I was getting her autograph, I try to look at it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't have I didn't necessarily have a voice actor per se that everybody has their idol. They idolize something or somebody or Star Wars or Star Trek, or whatever it is, comic books or music or, whatever it is. And so I try to look at it that way. And I'm like, what a cool thing, first of all, to get to meet one of your heroes, right?
Right.
And for that person to be kind to you and give you something or throw in something like, hey, let's take a picture or, whatever. I'm like, I cherish that stuff. You remember that stuff and I remember it. And so I'm thinking, I really hope this at least brings some kind of sunshine to his life, whatever it is he's going through. And it just feels good. You just can't put a price on that.
Definitely cannot put a price on that, because I hope this kid now, whatever age he is right now, can always look back to that moment. My God, yes. And we do, especially like, okay, not knowing that you were going to come out and here you go. There you go. That sticks forever. Like,
those are precious memories. It might have been something bright in a really dark life. You just don't know. And
absolutely.
You can only do so much. And so anytime people come up, it's like the first one for me. And it's like, if they have kids, we'll bring the kids over. And now, I know we had COVID, and that was really hard for everybody without being able to.
Definitely.
Right.
Challenging.
Was like, do you say fist pump? What do we do?
Right. Air hug.
Love you, mean it. But we're back to people that not necessarily wear the mask, and they hand me the babies dressed up like Goku, and I just melt.
That's so
trying to give them a little something extra. Yeah. Exactly. Not everybody does that, and it's like, come on, man. I hear stories. You hear stories, and then you meet people, and they're like I meet some of these other guests at different shows and stuff, and sometimes they're super cool and they're really nice, and you're so happy and excited about it, and then some are just like, gotta go. Show me the money. I'm out of here. And it's sad. It happens. But, and like, I know some people, like some of my fans will bring me their artwork, which is so adorable.
Oh, I love that.
I love those.
I have, like I said, those are my anime babies. So I bring them home and Put them on the fridge, like for my kids.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh my God.
Oh, how sweet, right? And then they'll bring me that, and then I'm like, well, here, let me sign yours if you want me to sign it, and and then it's just something special.
That
And,
is so sweet. I love that. And I love that you're able to create that memory with so many people. And that's something that they can go back and tell their friends, even. You're living vicariously, or those people are living vicariously through that. And it's just a good feeling. And I think that's something that if the anime community is good about something, it's the people that get it, right?
Yes.
And it's just one big happy family. So, that's such a sweet memory that you have. And I'm glad you were able to do that for him.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. That's the one that really stands out. Like I said, that's like, that went straight into my soul. I was
So-
like, and my Dan was right there with me, and he was like, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Oh.
That was part of this whole entire thing we did today. That, and then, people coming up, whether they've got like a disability or they might have a mental illness or autism, get a lot of that. They love anime. And so it's just giving them a really special memory. And, because, like I said, we all suffer with something, but when somebody's challenged like that, just, disabled, or they, no arms and legs, or, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
really humbling to see that, and just really just kind of get you to like, I'm not going to complain.
Right.
Yes, that is, yes, I'm not going to complain.
We're in the USA. I mean, there's just all these things. It just teaches you being grateful.
And sharing that story, honestly, a big message to parents that may not understand the anime at all. But if your kid loves anime, at least just take a little bit of time to understand what they like, because you have no idea what that does. Like, oh, my dad likes this, or my mom likes this, or my mom is taking me to this event, or whatever the case may be. Honestly, it goes a long way knowing that, my mom likes a little bit of this. So it just it's so it feels amazing.
It's so cute when I hear the stories where they watch it with them. It's like, oh, mom, you gotta watch. You gotta sit down and watch. Just trust me, right? And then they'll take them, and then they'll get into it. Not all of them, but most of them are like, oh, okay. So this guy's that guy. Okay, and then they start to understand the characters, the development of the story, and the background, and the looking at the moon and turning into an ape, or whatever it is. They can really bond with their child that way, and really share those moments watching it together, episode, or binging it, or whatever. It's really cute, because I see a lot of parents that bring kids out that aren't driving yet, and they're like, mom, look, it's so-and-so from Dragon Ball Z or whatever. And it's like, I really love seeing that, because I think that's really special. They can share that together. And like I said, it keeps them out of whatever that could take them down.
Right. It is a healthy hobby, it gives them something to do.
Peer pressure is very real with all of us. And so
that is,
they're home, they're safe, they're watching a show that's a cartoon. It's got a good moral story,
right?
Light over dark, bad guys, good guys. I mean, it's like there's something there.
Right. They could just be learning TikTok dances, and that gets old after a while, right? Just binge watch some Dragon Ball, and learn, learn
oh my God. Moments, because even till today, you got entertainers, athletes that love and adore anime, whether it be Naruto, Dragon Ball, you see like the appreciation. Yes, they love it. So I've seen quite a few custom shoes with Gohan from the Cell games with the purple. Oh my God. It's just, Piccolo.
Color is that,
Yes.
It follows me my whole life.
See, that is just destiny, that this role was meant for you.
Yeah.
The purple suit.
And purple and gold with my high school colors in Kansas. I'm like, purple and gold. Oh, wow. It all makes sense now.
See,
they're finally being answered. It just takes years and years of life experience.
Right.
It's true. That's kind of my colors too on my banner, my all of my branding for my table when I do these appearances is all reflects those colors, the purple and the gold hair and the green eyes, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. I'll have to look now. Next time I see a convention announcement, I'm going to look and be like, "Ooh, what colors does she have?" That's
colors.
So fun.
It does change, and my artwork changes every few months. I get new artwork, or I get an idea, and I just reach out to someone. I was like, "Hey, can you do something like with the hand coming out?" And it's the moment to go on, and of course, it's another creative outlet for these artists to
right
come up with something that is an idea that is implanted, and they're like, oh, let's make that come to life, So I'm huge with arts, the creative arts, and supporting the creative arts. And there's schools around here that I've appeared at where you just go and you like talk to these kids that are wanting to get into creative arts or writing or acting or voice acting or, music or whatever it is. And it's just really cool to go out there and get in the trenches with these kids and like really inspire them, hopefully, kind of encourage them towards following these dreams of whatever they are.
Right. So
Nice.
you are mentioning going to conventions. It sounds like such a fun thing. Are you going to be appearing at any conventions anytime soon?
Yeah, I've got some. If you go to www.stephanienadolny.com, we try to upload those appearances as we go along every few weeks or so. This month's a little bit relaxed. I've got some in Texas appearances this coming weekend. April 15th and 16th is Houston, Texas, which is kind of cool. I used to live in Houston, one of the many places I grew up. And so I'll be in Houston with Chuck Huber. Hey, Chuck, what's up, man? He's cool. He does a lot of props, and he's quite a thrill to sign autographs with. He's funny. And then I've got Lawton, Oklahoma. No, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Del Rio down. I'm making a run for the border. I grew up in Eagle Pass, Texas, which is kind of sort of near Del Rio. So I'll be down there with my friends in Del Rio for the Del Rio Comic-Con. And then Lawton, Oklahoma will be the end of April. And then May gets crazy, you guys.
Oh, right. That's convention season.
That's convention time.
I've got Oregon coming up. Never been to Oregon. Super excited about that one in June. Kamehacon 5. Hello. That's like the
right.
That's May 12th through the 14th. My birthday weekend will be outside of Denver, Colorado, the 19th to 22nd. And then I go to California the end of May. I'll be in Marysville with Elise Bowman, the voice of Pan from Dragon Ball GT. Wow! Great OG voice actors who are super fun to interact with and sign autographs with, and do TikToks with, have some fun.
Right.
TikTok must be amazing when you get all the voice actors together.
I grab the ones that are willing, and if there's time at these conventions, I grab a moment to try to like, come on, let's do something. Come on, just don't don't out too much. Just wing it. And sometimes we get some really, really cute, funny videos that get posted. So those moments when I can. It's crazy which ones go viral too. It's like one with the OG voice of Frieza. Her and I were at a convention a couple months ago, and we did one. And I don't know why, it's like 80,000+ people.
There you go.
Wow.
Nice.
About being viral, which ended up being cute and funny. So that one's growing too. So I don't know. It's really weird. It's interesting to see which ones really hit it big and why.
Right. Know. You know what I've always heard? It's the ones that you put the least amount of effort into, the ones that you don't think. Right. They're just fun. Those are the ones that are the best.
See where it goes. Let's just put it out.
Yeah, we mess them up when we try too hard. You try too hard, everybody can tell.
That's so hard. The internet's a weird place.
Yeah, right. Sometimes it's just a moment.
Speaking of the internet and being a crazy place, where can people find you on social media?
That's going to be my website, www.stephanienadolny.com.
There we go. Everything will be in the description. Link to her website. Everybody go check it out. Go support our mom, one of our moms. Go support her, please. Because if you know just the work she's doing, it's amazing. So yes, go support our mom. You are our anime mom. That's
mama.
Yes.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of my friends that I've grown up with, different schools, they're becoming grandmothers now at my age. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot imagine. In fact, my mom I've outlived her already, and she was about to be a grandmother when we lost her. So my brother's 2 daughters are those girls, love those girls so much. Aww. They love anime. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, they just knew I was crazy Aunt Stephanie making all the voices and singing all the songs. Now they're like, oh my gosh. And they're like every once in a while I get a text from like my oldest niece, she's 23. She's like, that card that we found in your garage, it's worth like this much money. Can you believe it? these youngsters, they grew up with computers.
They're smart. They're smart.
Right now, you can just go look it up. Let me see how much this is, bro.
Right.
It's so cute because they're like, I want to get one of those pop toys and stuff, and like they finally kind of understand what I was doing all those years, and like they're going and they're adults now, both over 18. So
they're like, Auntie, can you sign this, please?
Right.
So they'll start dating a guy that's really into anime, and they're like,
I like that.
yeah, it's pretty
Better
cute.
be good to me because my auntie is Gohan.
Right.
She'll come and get you.
Yes.
She will kick your butt if you're mean to me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Nice.
So yeah, just my website. I've got Stephanie Nadolny, voice actress, on Facebook, at Stephanie Nadolny on Instagram. TikTok is at Steph Nadolny. All of that stuff can be found on my website, and I'll be adding some stuff and hopefully get that album up there. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious about this album. I want to listen to this album.
I want to do that again. I want to get back in the studio really bad. I really miss it. I really miss the creative process and singing. I love that. Just singing. It's just it's my soul.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah. I hope I haven't taken too much of your time.
No, we love chatting with you. It's so fun.
We are in chill mode with our anime mom. Are you kidding me? No.
Right.
Yes. No.
That's in the title, Anime&Chill.
There you go. There you go.
Mom.
So before we get you out, 2 bonus questions that we ask all of our guests. So the first one, you can invite 5 people from the anime universe over for dinner. So 5 characters, whoever you want. Who are they going to be, and what's for dinner?
From anybody?
Anybody. It is open. You go wherever you want to go with this.
I'd probably want, because I'm meeting some of these actors behind some of these voices. And the characters look really interesting. Like maybe the Sailor Moon girl.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah. And then the Miley Flanagan, she does the voice of Naruto.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
And,
Be sure that ramen has to be on the
Right.
I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be Asian food. We're going to be rocking some ramen. We're going to be kicking some butt with some egg rolls, soy sauce, teriyaki, stir fry, which I happen to love in real life. So,
oh my God.
Stir fry. You just toss it all in there and mix it up and eat it all up. So let's see. That was 2. How about Bulma? She's fun. Yes. And Kid Goku.
Wow.
Because
Kid Goku? All right. Who's topping off dinner?
Who else did we? I don't want to be all biased and just say my characters.
That's okay.
That is okay.
We got to switch it up a little bit. Probably let's bring East Kai in on her scooter.
All right.
Oh, I love it. Ramen's my favorite. Oh. So there you have it.
Oh my God. Oh,
From some other animes. Sailor Moon and Naruto, and
Right. Mix them all up. It'll be
Feast.
fun.
We'll have a feast.
Oh, feast. Yeah, definitely got to bring the food with these characters. Yeah, you got to bring the food.
And maybe if there's space at the table, Master Roshi. I'm gonna take my last stick of butter.
Oh my God, that'd be entertaining as heck right there. Oh my God.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Okay. So, last question.
Mm-hmm.
There's a billboard out to the world. The entire world can see this billboard. What is your message to the world?
Like a mantra?
Whatever you want to tell the world.
Whatever you want to tell the world.
Oh, you guys caught me off guard on that one.
Exactly. I can say the flex that I caught Gohan off guard. Okay.
Hey, but the show must go on. I don't know. I think the show must go on, but I don't want to really say the show because the show could really be anything. It could be your life.
Yes.
So what?
Bingo.
What is it? Dan's over there going, come on, like that, right? Oh, no, I don't like that's not fun. He said, don't worry about nothing because nothing's going to be okay. That's not good.
One way to live life.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sound so cheesy, you guys, but
it's okay.
I mean, really cherish the moment, the journey. Life is not about getting to the finish line and comparing yourself to everybody else. It's like live your own journey. Oh, here's a good one. Strive to be better than who you were the day before.
Bingo. There we go. Nice.
People, look at yourself, look in that mirror and go, come on, what are we going to do? Who am I going to help today? What kind of difference am I going to make today? That kind of thing. So,
that's a good one. I like that.
Yes.
I'm cheesy.
No, it works. A lot of people would really need to hear that and resonate with it.
Quit trying to find something external, which I've done it myself. We all do it. But like look into yourself and really genuinely like meditate on what can I do that's better than what I did before. You know, make your amends with whatever you've done. Forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up and start over and hit that pavement first thing the next morning.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yes, go. Yes.
Straight out of the mouth of Gohan from
Very, very good. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. And at the end of every show, we have a special sign off that we like to do, and it would be an honor if you could join us with it.
Okay.
Join it with us.
There we go.
What are we saying?
So we are going to be doing our motto, and our motto is peace, love, and anime.
And anime.
There we go.
Yay!
Yes, peace, love, and anime to everybody.
Very good. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight, Stephanie. It's been an honor chatting with you. Thank you so much for everyone, and we will see you again on the next episode of the Anime&Chill podcast.
For sure. Everybody in the chat, Michael, you heard some inspiring words. So this is from your mom, your anime mom, okay? Okay. So please, there you go. Please take that, and boy, you can get through anything, okay? You just heard it from your anime mom. So peace out, everybody.
Listen to your mama.